Okay, welcome back to the garage. We're going to take up the process of preparing the belly lamb in our Reflex Deflex bow. I have chosen to make this particular bow out of epay and bamboo. Covered the process of preparing the bamboo backing in preparation for the construction of the bow here, and so now we're turning our focus on the epay, and you can see that I have my limb designs drawn out on the board blank there. This particular board is just over an inch wide. It's about an inch and a quarter. Thickness on that guy is right at about 3/8 of an inch. And so I did not rip him on the table saw. I actually ripped him on the band saw. I find that I get a little thinner blade kerf that way, so I can take a 4/4 piece of wood. I can rip it in half and have two usable staves out of one, what would ordinarily be considered a single stave. Now, if you do not have a bandsaw or table saw or the ability to rip your belly lamb into a thinner piece, that is perfectly okay. This process will work for hand tools, power tools, or however you want to do this. You would just reduce your dimensions then with the tools that you have at your disposal. I'm going to be taking this a little. I've become a little more mechanically involved in the way that I produce my bows. There's a saying in construction or cabinet making, if you're going to make the same cut more than 4 times, you should build a jig. I have made a lot of these bows. My intention was to make a lot because I spent a lot of time experimenting and did not want to spend a lot of time caught up in the actual production. I wanted to get to finished product, so I knew where the best dimensions with the best design, best construction methods, etc. And so to aid me in tapering out my limbs, I built myself a drum sander. So this is actually constructed with some different I don't know, I watched some YouTubes, some guys that have put together drum sanders, and you can actually make them much more complicated than the one I made. Cost me about $200 between the motor and the belt and then the lumber. So I mean, cost wise it's not prohibitive really, and the time it saves is pretty valuable time. So it won't take me very long to put a taper on this particular stave, if that's what you want to call it. So here we are. Again, I've got my design just laid out on the piece of wood here on my epay. I gave it 8 inches at the center, so the two lines across the entire board are 8 inches apart from center, well, at the center of the bow, and then we'll just cut straight tapers into the two tips that are a 1/2 inch wide. No real mystery to the design. It's basically just a real elongated pyramid design. It's the easiest way to put this all together, and then you shape the grip section the way that you're comfortable with from there. Really should go without saying that when you cut, you should be cutting outside your pencil line or your marking, and then ease your way up to it either by sanding or what have you. But I'm going to go ahead and just cut out the remainder of the shape here. It's not going to take me very long, and then we'll get started on the rest of it. All right, this part, you guys, is I'm shooting this just purely as a frame of reference for the way that I go about tapering my the limbs on my bow, at least in this style of construction. You can even see that I also do self bows. I am not unfamiliar with how to use hand tools and rasps and etc. When I am able to utilize power tools, I do. I know that that can be a little bit of a contention or a contentious subject for guys making natural or primitive bows. So this is just how I do it. There's certainly no prerequisite or anything else as far as this is concerned. The only thing we have to make sure we do is take this blank, our belly piece, and tiller it before we back it. So we want to get this reduced down, get a good taper on both limbs, and make sure that it's bending in a tiller that we want. And it's going to be almost the exact same process that we used for the bamboo backing in the other video. So what I have here, this little contraption, I don't know if it's just a sled or whatever you want to call it. I have a piece of wood right here. I have it marked out, actually like this. That's 0.1 inches thick. So it's just a thin riser, and I just set that in this contraption. And what it does is when the board sets down in there, sorry, that need a wider angle, and it's all set down in there. What it does is it has a 0.1 inch rise along that length, and it's a 30 inch sled. And so we'll place this bow in here, and we'll just run it repeatedly through the drum sander until we have an even taper from tip all the way up to the start of the fade. Now, if you're working with a thicker piece, let's say this is even a whole inch wide, you'll want to do some pretty gross reduction along here before we start it on the sledge, or however you want to do that. And then when we grind it out, it could just dish out. If you stop the feed in the same place, you'll just get a real nice dish out to the thicker part where your grip will be, and could actually negate the need for a power lamb in that instance, so you don't have to worry about your handle popping off. But I prefer this method because what I can do is I get a very thin main piece. What we're going to do is induce a deflex at that grip, so we're going to heat and bend it into some deflex before we construct everything. And the power lamb then goes between the backing and the belly piece. We kind of sandwich it in there, and that gives you your artificial thickness in there that you're missing by having cut the main piece so thin. And I will post another video after this just with some discussion and topical pieces of information as far as power lambs are concerned, and how you can use them. This is the one that I'm going to use on this particular bow, but how you can use a power lamb in your construction process to really avoid massive amounts of wood reduction and still get real great results with the bend through your grip. So I'll probably film just a couple runs through the sander, just kind of give you an idea of how it works. But remember, how you reduce this is up to you. Whatever tools you have, you just want a nice even taper from your fade to the tip, and you're going to measure that in tiller. Alright, so you can see how that would save a lot of time and energy using that process to reduce your bow. Basically have the one side already tapered. I'll probably run it down a few more times because I can see that it's pretty thick, and I'm going to want to get it a little narrower before I go to put on the backing. But in a nutshell, that's how I use this particular tool. Again, I made it because I knew I was going to be making a lot of them. It doesn't change the philosophy on the process, though. You just want a good taper from your fade to the tip, and we're gonna make sure it's in tiller. We'll floor tiller it a few times. Make sure that it's in tiller before we glue it up, and that's the only thing this process is all about. So this might be a little tricky for me to show you. Hopefully I can. I don't know. Hopefully you can see it. So I've tapered my limbs, just enough to get a good floor tiller. It's very slight. It's not much because the wood is already thin to begin with, and we've also given it a very even width taper from fade to tip, so you're already dealing with a pyramid type design, so it doesn't take a whole lot of thickness taper to achieve a good tiller. So I'm going to step back here and hopefully you guys will be able to see this. It's just bending evenly, and I don't do any more looking than just a floor tiller. So that's all I'm interested in getting is a good bend, and I can see that it's bending easily. There's no weak spots or anything like that. And actually, with the process that I use, I eliminate a lot of the possibilities for that just by taking it through the drum sand. But however you achieve this, be it with rasps or even on a plane or whatever you want to use, to just get it thinned down enough to bend evenly, it's all we need. Okay, a quick note that I forgot to mention, guys, a minute ago. When you're putting together your belly piece, and we talk about tapering it and getting it reduced to shape and etc., when you have this thing tillered, it should be tillered to what you would believe to be a very light bow. I would tell you that if I were to finish this bow out as it is, as a self bow, it might make a 30-pound bow at 28 inches. It's very limber, and we want it limber, kind of to the point when I was describing that when we glue on that backing, you're going to have shear strength running along that glue line. It imparts an amazing amount of resistance, and then the reflex in the limbs themselves also create a lot of resistance. So this, upon glue up and straight out of the mold, will probably be in the neighborhood of 60 or 70 pounds. And you'll see that as we go along, but you want this very limber before glue up. Okay, just pulled this portion of the stave off of the stove inside the house. I boiled it over a stock pot just at the handle section for about 30 minutes. Got it real good and hot. Made it really pretty easy to induce this bend right here. So this is our Deflex. You'll see that we are deflexed pretty significantly, and that's really what I'm going for here. It just helps with the overall design of the bow. So thought I'd just show you how this looks in the call, straight off of the boiling water or the steam bath, to get that Deflex. Okay, took the Ipe out of the call that it was in. It's cooled off now. Pretty pleased with the Deflex. It looks to be deflexed about, oh, here. Yeah, 2 to 3 inches each side. This one's about 3 inches. So we've got a real good Deflex in that bow, or in that belly piece. And the beauty of that is, so I'm going to set this up on its tips if I can get it to balance. Okay, so here is our distance off the tabletop, which means this bow can basically, we could string it to like about a 2.5 inch string height when we're done with this. At 2.5 inches with straight limbs, this piece of wood, this piece of Ipe, will be in a relaxed state. It will not begin to compress until it has hit that measure. So we want to remember that when we start tillering this bow, is that it can get to the shape you're looking at, and that piece of wood will be at that moment in a relaxed state. Once it begins beyond that, now we're starting to get compression forces in the Ipe. The bamboo kind of follows suit, and that's going to be the same idea. It's not going to start feeling tension as much anyway until it's almost in that same shape. So we are setting ourselves up for what is truthfully a very safe construction method, safe design through construction. The only thing we want to induce is that Deflex. Everything else from this point forward is going to be induced via pressure. So we will glue it, or when we glue it, we will pull it into some deflex or reflex on the limbs. We'll pull that into place so that it takes force to induce it, and it'll take on its reverse tiller so that we can tiller it back again. Like I mentioned in the bamboo preparation video, it takes a lot of the mystery out of tillering. We just got to get those limbs to the straight shape like you see right now, and then continue the tillering process from there. So this is going to be the end of this video. Next installment, we'll explore the power lamb, the value of the power lamb, the purpose of the power lamb, different things we can do with the power lamb, the necessity of one, if you even need it, and etc. So that'll be the next installment. I think once that is completed, we'll be gluing this thing up and things really start moving at that point.